The content discussed in this podcast is for informational and educational purposes only and should not be construed as financial or mortgage advice. Always consult with a licensed professional before making any decisions regarding mortgages or financial matters.
Welcome to the Canadian Mortgage Show. Here are mortgage professionals Alex Pang and Alex Shanks to cut through the BS and educate Canadians on all things mortgages and real estate.
The average income of a household increased from $96,900 to $111,600. So it's an increase of 15.2%. Sounds great, right? But, hold your horses here. The rate of increase of their income tax burden grew a whopping 41.4% during that time. So we all said that, yeah, we're making more money, but we feel like we're falling further and further behind. Welcome to episode 66 of the Canadian Mortgage Show. Alex Pang here alongside my partner in crime, Alex Shanks. Alex, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, man. It's Friday for us, and hoping going to be getting a Christmas tree here this weekend to get it up in the property and do. We're going to go out and get a real Christmas tree. I don't know if you guys do that over in on the mainland that way there, Alex. But we go and get our Christmas trees.
Yeah, we've always done artificial trees because we hear about the horror stories of like, yeah, it's great that you can smell the fresh tree, the spruce and all that stuff. But we've heard stories about like squirrels being in the tree that have not escaped and everything, and all these wild animals and stuff. So yeah, we kept it artificial. Now, a funny thing here, our main platform on streaming is Spotify. Now, Spotify this time of year have come out with their Spotify Wrapped about what you listen to most, music, albums, podcasts, all that stuff. Well, there's also a Spotify for Creators Wrapped in 2025. And I shared it to Alex yesterday alongside our producer. And I thought I'd share it to our audience here. We are doing pretty good, so to speak. About a year and 3 months into this venture here. Our most popular episode was episode 50. It was almost like our 1 year mark. So we've had to kind of establish ourselves for a year. And then episode 50 was our top listened show. And we also have a video portion that's on YouTube, but also on Spotify. And our show is in the top 15% of videos on Spotify, which was a nice, cool thing. Yeah. Do you want to touch on our listenership and the location?
Yeah. And this is interesting. Obviously, the Canadian Mortgage Show, our top countries. I am glad that we got Canada here as number one. But it's interesting. We have United States in number 2. We got Nigeria in number 3. Ireland is number 4, and India is number 5. Now, I don't know if like the algorithm for Spotify is taking it when they're in Canada, but then is their phone from those locations. Be interested to know, because hey, listeners, if you are like, can you tell us why you are listening from the United States? We're talking about some economy stuff here, but it definitely our information is specific to Canada for mortgages. We talk about everything across the world in a sense, but it is very targeted to Canada. Our mortgage, the way that they're done here, is completely different than anywhere else.
Yeah, and I was talking to Alex before we hit the record button. I'm like, well, could they be because they're thinking of moving here? Well, we currently have a foreign buyer ban right now. I mean, I guess maybe they may be coming over and getting their PR and hoping to plan down the road. If so, thank you. And yeah, we hope to continue to provide value for you. I hope you find, our discussion entertaining, informative, all that stuff. Here's a big one that's kind of cool, is that we're the number 1 show for 44 fans. So for you 44 fans, thank you. We do this show for you, and thank you. And hey, hopefully by this time next year, this it'll be over 100 or more for as the number 1 show. And so Spotify kind of branded us a 2025 Rising Star, a 2025 Marathon Show, and a 2025 Most Shared Show. So that kind of gives us some credibility, like street cred. Like, hey, what we talk about is not a bunch of BS. We talk about what's going on in industry and such. And there was a longer version of the Spotify Wrapped, and this is too long to put on our show. But there was one stat that said that 25% of our listeners binge watch like listen to our show, like more than 2 episodes at a time. I'm like, wow.
Okay, what do you? I mean, again, I wonder if someone that finds it and then they watch a bunch and then it's. I mean, it's interesting. I used to listen to podcasts quite a bit. I just don't. I don't have the time for it anymore. I have not. I don't do long drives anymore or anything. And so I honestly haven't listened to a podcast in quite a long time.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't do long drives as well, but I'm in front of like both you and I are in front of the computer all the time. I don't listen to music all the time. I listen to mostly podcasts. So my podcast top 5 podcasts is a sports one. For those of you in BC, it's Donnie and Dolly. I'm going to give credit for other podcasts I listen to is the Looney Hour and Angry Mortgage with Ron Butler back east. And a funny one in my top 5 is our show. So I listen to our show, and mostly not because I'm like narcissistic, like, yeah, I want to hear my own voice, but oftentimes it's the production value. I'm like, okay, did our producer miss anything? Like, hey, did we flow very well? And maybe because we're our worst critic. And I find when I listen to myself, I say, yeah, a lot. So I'm going to be conscious about it.
That's why I don't want to listen to myself. I get scared. I don't want to hear myself, and it's funny. And I'll call my wife on a little bit. She hasn't even listened to a single episode of us yet. I have other family. They all love it. But my wife, she hasn't actually even listened to a single one.
There was an interesting thing where Spotify Wrapped has come out, and some people share it on social. Here's another graphic that hopefully our producer can put up. I'm gonna give credibility here. Listed by Dahlia. This is a Montreal realtor. Put it up on our IG. That we are one of her top podcast shows to listen to. So yeah. Dahlia, we're giving you a shout out there. Thank you for tuning in. We're glad that you've find our show of value. So that's enough navel gazing, don't you think? We better talk about the show.
We can just talk about ourselves all day though. Let's actually jump into it. I mean, today is again we're Friday, December 5th, and we got some stuff that's I think it's me and Alex are talking. I feel like it's Overreaction Friday a little bit. I don't think this stuff is like game changing. The economy's changing. It's just Canada's unemployment rate fell to 6.5% in November, down from 6.9% in October. Now, for everyone, like in some cases, economy, if more jobs are being added, that means good. A lot of people want less of this. And I mean, are these real jobs being added? Are they mostly part-time? Are they only just to fill in for the holidays? Like we saw this last year. We saw this the year before. I think we have an episode out around the exact same time where massive jobs got increased. Well, we knew going into the new year, well, all those jobs lose and the economy changes again. But with this increase here, and economists expected only 10,000, but 54,000 were added. The 5-year bond yield surged. Like it went from 2.6 all the way up to like 2.94 today, which is just leading more pressure as well. For one, December 10th rate cut, it's gone. That's definitely not going to happen. And if this stays up higher, elevated like this, like fixed rates are going to start to rise.
Yeah. And if we recall last year, what also helped was the GST relief, the GST holiday. Remember that? That was on for 2 months, and then our economy was propped up for a little bit, and we're all like, yeah, they ain't going to last. And, going out to restaurants at the time, if I remember, it was kind of cool to see, like, you paid for exactly what you ordered. There was no, like, of course, if there's liquor tax, there's added, but it was funny to see if I ordered a meal, it was $25 and it was .00. I'm like, I don't think I've ever seen that in a while living in BC with taxes and such. So that was a cool thing. I mean, speaking of Overreaction Friday, markets now expect the BOC's next move will be a hike in 2026 after the jobs data today. And they're, pricing in a hike October 2026. I'm like, people, hold your horses. I mean, we'll talk about it later about the whole jobs thing. All the part-time stuff is probably temporary for busy season coming up with Christmas season in the service hospitality sector. So let's wait and see how things really land until we.
Yeah, that's I mean, I just would like to always tell people, Alex, and we talk. It does change weekly to weekly. I mean, that's the thing is this data is going to keep adjusting. We're going to go over more stuff that's going in the economy. Like right now, yes, we've added some jobs, but that's not going to be the same here coming up soon.
Yeah. So I mean, this one, I mean, we've been talking about it. We're not hating on the government. We just don't like the policies that come out, and we hear a lot of things about um, a quarter of our workforce is working in the public sector, whether it be federal, provincial, municipal. Well, the government is going to, like they said in the recent budget, they are going to look to downsize and to tighten up their labor force. They are sending early retirement info to roughly 68,000 public servants. And this was released yesterday. We're all like, this is the best news today, because we all know that we need to reduce government bloat, and this is the first step towards it.
Yeah, no, exactly. And that's where, I mean, again, this is some stuff changing here. I mean, again, the government is now sending early retirement info to roughly 68,000 public servants. So, I mean, hey, again, we've added a bunch of jobs potentially. They're all part-time jobs. These are not full-time jobs that are going to continue us to grow. And what happens when the government starts laying off people? Well, again, we're going to go down, we're going to go up. Like we talked about this before, like everything that we're going through, like it's just not going to be a straight down. Like there's going to be bumps. I mean, I'd be fine to know, like, if there was real data proving that our economy is moving in the right direction, I'd be like, hey, this is awesome. That's a great news. We're not going into a recession. There's nothing I see out there that is pointing to that at all. I mean, we're talking about food prices going up. Everyone's saying that for a family of four, $1,500 a month, a year more, what food prices are going to be. Like, there's nothing that's saying we're doing better. We're not adding new jobs to our economy in good ways. Like, again, this is just looking at one thing and reacting to it right away.
Yeah, I was just seeing my naturopath today, and we were talking about economy stuff. She says she knows a client who's a manager at ethnic food store. It's called Hanam Market or H Mart, whatever. It's a Korean supermarket. She said, yes, sales are down because people aren't spending money. Like, I mean, yes, people are still eating, but they're not eating gourmet foods anymore. Like for things like Asian foods, like, you know, hot pot meats or steaks or anything. Like something I like to do is buy marinated Korean short ribs, and they call it gaibi. And it's great on the barbecue. Like, we do it every summer. It's like, oh, it's appointment eating. But the cost of it has gone up so much. It's like, I think last time I remember, it was like $18 a pound. So you get a pack of 8 short ribs. It's like 50 to 60 bucks. And, you know, for a family of 4, we're not just going to eat 2, we're going to eat more. So I have to buy 2 packs of this. That's already $120 just for that meat alone. And if you're going to buy other things like that and chicken wings, all that, it ends up being a $200 barbecue. And I'm like, my goodness, that's not cheap anymore. And because of that, I don't think I actually barbecued at all this summer using all those kind of meats. We might have barbecued, but cheaper meats. So like what you talked about, food inflation, same thing. And another thing too, like during the off season, like during the winter, we like doing hot pot at home and buying all those meats, the seafoods and all that stuff. And I think I mentioned it a few times, Big Way is a big thing in the Lower Mainland, a Big Way hot pot. And of course, like we like to eat the meats and the seafood and stuff, and seafood's not cheap as well. So yeah, it's kind of tough to have these kind of gourmet meals, even cooking at home. Yeah.
No, and that's just where it's, I mean, again, I don't know how we fix that. I mean, these grocery stores are not just gonna say, oh yeah, we'll start reducing prices. And so that's just where we're in uncertain times still. We don't know what's going on with the US here. And so that's where we're gonna go over some more stuff here today about that stuff. But I just recommend people, like, don't freak out about today. I have seen a lot of people posting today and the problem I have, and I've talked about this before about social media, it's a fear-driven place. I like this, like me and Alex can talk about real things. We're not here to drive fear to people. It's like, hey, this is what we think. This is what's going on. Social media, it's a clickbait. The higher you get people to fear on something, the more views people get. I just don't love it.
Yeah, 100%. Now, like, just going back to the part where we're talking about government jobs and stuff. So this next graph here from the Fraser Institute, basically saying in every province except Manitoba, the total government employment growth outpaced the private sector from 2015 to 2024. So obviously putting pressure on government finances here. I mean, there's no surprise here that the only job growth we've seen in the last 10 years have mainly been in the public sector. And, I guess with the federal government, now this is obviously a provincial a stat, but I mean, you'll see here it'll come down with these kind of layoffs that are happening.
Now, the other thing, and we're going to talk about some mortgage renewals here. Now, the funny thing is, we talked, I think it was 2 episodes ago, about like the delinquency rates are actually going down. Well, they went down. Now there's posts of people saying they're surging, they are skyrocketing. It went from 0.23% to 0.24%. And again, people are freaking out, saying this is the end of Canada and mortgages. Look at people at a graph of what the US is compared to us. Their average is 1.76. We're at 0.23%. We have some room to go up. Like that's like it. We are very low that way. And this is where like the big reason for some of this stuff coming up is nearly 1/4 of all mortgages in the country renew in 2026. And the next 5 years makes 5 years from the low mortgage rates in 2021. And so people that got those rates, they are going to see it increase. And so some people, if they've taken out other debts, they may not be able to handle that. And that's like, everyone was always worried about the variable rates, and hey, it sucked, but most people, like, they've already gone through all that pain. Their budgets have been readjusted. There's people here that have rates at 1.5%. They've just been living their life of like, this is so amazing. My mortgage is so low. Their payments are not going to double. If they went from 1.5%, even it goes to 4%, that's over double. Their payment's not going to double, but they're going to be going up $800 to $1,000 a month. And if they add any other debt, like it's going to hurt.
Yeah. I mean, for those of us who felt the pain right away on variable, we've already adjusted our lifestyle. This is for those people who we said that party is going to end and it's ending for everybody. So I do have to kind of correct you here. It's a third of all mortgages, more than a quarter. But yeah. I think I committed the sin in broadcasting or podcasting. Never correct your host. Just let him go with it, and then let the viewer said it's actually a third. But yeah. Okay, so I mean, next up here, household consumption in Canada fell 0.4% in Q3, its worst quarterly performance since the pandemic. I think I want to put a little more credibility in this one than the jobs report that just got released today. I'm like, this is more of a symptom of what's really going on. Like, talk to the people on the ground. They're just not spending as much and, doing all those kind of things. So, I mean, yeah, it's dropped here Q3. Q2 was up, but yeah, it's kind of a sign of the times. And it's kind of a function too of we're seeing mounting job loss. Now, let's forget about what StatsCan said about the part-time jobs. Full-time jobs is the main. And chances are those gains in part-time jobs, it's probably because their full-time job, they're not making enough. So people are having to pick up second hustles, or they just got laid off. So they'll have to, find 1 or 2 part-time jobs just to bridge the gap in the meantime.
And I mean, that's what like I said, I think we talked about this when I was in Vancouver. I talked to a couple people and they're in the steel industry. And we're going to talk about that here later. I mean, they're all working second jobs. They do not have continuous work right now. And I would say the people in Vancouver, they're better equipped. Like, they're willing to go do those things. I know other people that are like, oh, I've waited 8 months. I can't find a new job. It's like, what the heck have you been doing for 8 months? I mean, after 2 weeks, I would have been applying for cleaning up garbage at somebody's house. Like,
yeah, DoorDash, Uber, do whatever you need to do. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so this next stat here is per Canada spends from 2010 to 2023. So that's a 13-14 year period. The average income of a household increased from 96,900 to 111,600. So it's an increase of 15.2%. Sounds great, right? But hold your horses here. The rate of increase of their income tax burden grew a whopping 41.4% during that time. So we all said that, yeah, we're making more money, but we feel like we're falling further and further behind. Not only, hey, we're getting taxed more, inflation, everything costs more. So our money is not going as far as it used to. I mean, I've talked about this several times now. Like back in the day when I grew up, making 100 grand is, hot dang, you must be wealthy. Now, if you're making 100, you're kind of like just barely scraping by. And you almost need a combined income as a family, especially in the metro areas. I'm talking about Vancouver and Toronto. You need to make like combined 200 just to feel like you're okay, or you have some choices and like you can travel. Now it's different, obviously, in the sticks, like where Alex lives and other people. But hey, I'm talking about the majority of the areas here.
Well, wow, I get to live. I get all the benefits, and I get to keep my money inside of a company, which is even better.
Yeah, exactly. You just have to do a slow internet and no Amazon Prime.
Yep. There's pros and cons to it.
Do you want to share about what you posted about a couple of days ago about Starlink? I just wanted to mention that.
It is a family friend, and I mean, it's so like I've been thinking of getting Starlink for a cabin that we have, and it's like $160 a month, and I mean I wasn't going to use it all that often, but he's come up with a great idea to rent, like he has them and he just rents them out, and it's $25 a day, and you get to take it and you get unlimited data. And so I mean it's a pretty cool thing, especially for people camping. The problem that I have with them is for me to disconnect from work, Alex, is I need to not have, like, I can't have my phone. If I have my phone, I'm going to look at it. And that's where some of the places we do camp sometimes in our trailer, there is no service. I mean, it stresses me out a little bit, but I have an amazing team that fills that void. But now with Starlink, that's going to be gone, which is kind of scary.
Yeah.
And so I need, in some places I stay longer for it. And so instead of me going and buying and having to pay $160 every single month for a year, because it's not something that you can like turn on and off, I'm just going to rent it from him. Like, hey, awesome, I'm going camping for 2 weeks. I do need it for this. And so I think it's a great idea.
Do they allow you to rent from other users, or how does that work?
I mean, I don't know that I wouldn't,
Okay.
I wouldn't be able to say specifically.
Yeah, maybe this conversation should not be recorded in case Starlink is listening to this one. Okay. Well, hey, we all know growing up we had the black box or whatever, this, where we watched our,
I heard do Amazon Fire Stick, they're going to ban all third-party things. And I mean, I only know the people that use those things for what you're talking about, the black box and streaming and everything.
Yeah, like to stream sports for free, all that stuff, right? Yeah.
So like it's kind of funny. No one will be buying a Fire Stick if they do that.
Yeah, 100%. All right, so now we're gonna shift gears here, talking about stats and sales. Canadian condo prices continued their decline in Q3. Surprise, surprise. StatsCan National Index is down 2.1% quarter on quarter and 2.8% year over year. Now, Toronto and Vancouver saw the steepest annual declines, like we've been documenting forever, down 3.5% and 3% respectively. Here in Vancouver, home sales fell 15% in November year over year, with the benchmark price down 3.9%. According to the Real Estate Board of Greater Vancouver, 1,846 homes changed hands last month, and it's nearly 21% below the 10-year seasonal average. Do you want to talk about Toronto?
I mean, Toronto's just it's ugly there. It's not in a good way. I think I saw another stat that like only 21 condos got sold in November and everything. I mean, like that's a wild stat to think of, a place that has like 6-7 million and one, like, we're just talking about Toronto, and only 21 condos are sold. Like that's a crazy number.
Yeah, and so here are the stats here. The GTA home sales fell 15.8% year over year in November. The average price declined 6.4%, Treb reports. Now, new listings also edged lower, and it just highlight continued softness in the GTA market. So just like how we said in the top of the show, Vancouver and Toronto are not doing that well right now. I mean, other areas that are more affordable, like your area, is doing really well. It just highlights the affordability divergence between different markets. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean the one thing that you could say that's nice that is coming from all this is the asking rents are just continue to trend lower in most metros in Canada. I mean, we can see here like Vancouver, it's gone down like on a two bedroom almost by like 6%. In Hamilton area, Toronto, it's gone even lower. And I mean, these are all good things, but you got Saskatoon, Regina, Winnipeg, those are all increasing, Quebec, and so just interesting to see these markets now. What I see, and this is where I hate those the real estate investor groups. They're going to map this and be like, you gotta go buy in Saskatoon or Regina. This is the best market ever. Hey, it may be increasing in rents, but don't forget they have times when they're not good and the appreciation is completely different. Like we can't pretend. I hate when I see people say, hey, buy in Edmonton and you're gonna get a 5% appreciation because that's the average. Well, they're taking that from BC and Ontario. That's not the average in Ontario. But people use it again as just a fancy thing. You'd be like, hey, buy this $300,000 condo. In 10 years, it's going to be worth like 700. It's like, no, that's not what's going to happen there. Rents are good. They're usually steady there, but that's just a cash flow thing. You're not going to appreciate that.
Yeah. Like areas outside of the GTA and Lower Mainland, you will see appreciation, but it's a slow thing. It's the whole historical get rich slowly. That's how real estate should be, not the whole speculation, flip it for 100 grand more a year later kind of thing. Yeah, for the areas like Alex mentioned here in the maritime, or sorry, the prairies, don't expect 5% appreciation. Like especially in Alberta, historically, it follows the oil and gas cycle. And if you're buying in Edmonton, you have to expect almost your property value won't go up at all in 10 years. It'll be the same. So the only way you'll gain equity is just mortgage pay down. So any appreciation is a bonus, but as a real estate investor, you should kind of go in with that kind of thinking going forward.
That's all I say. And it just frustrates me again. I think it's just a problem with social media. I mean, again, everyone wants to use whatever way that they can get deals and everything. It frustrates me when I see people like more or less being, look at this, buy this, you're going to make X amount of money. It's like, you're not talking about all the other variables here, which again, how can you do that in a 30-second video? It's not like you can break all that down and you're using something to quickly get a conversation with someone. But yeah, just buyer beware.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is too, like both you and I are real estate investors, or I used to own rental, not right now, but we always say that if you're going to invest for the first time, it's easier to do it within an hour of a radius of where you live, because in the beginning you want to manage it yourself, right? You got to know how to manage it. And if you're fortunate enough that you live in a single detached, hey, you can rent out your basement. That's real estate investing as well. And then once you get used to managing your own property, then you can kind of, stretch yourself out and then invest in other areas. Some people invest in Canada, some people invest in the States and all that stuff, because you're not going to be able to manage it clearly. So you're going to have to pay a property manager. So you have to manage your property manager, and that's an expense on your cash flow. Yep. So, and the going rate is usually about 10% of the rent is for property management, give or take, right? It could be lower if you have like more properties under management, but that's kind of the case. It's not like, how, the social media say, oh, invest here. But if you're a first time investor, Alex and I will both say like, it's not like, you shouldn't try to do more like out of your own area thing as a first time, because because you're not there to handle anything, and you don't know if you're going to have.
I have a few people that Alex that are investors. They live in BC and they don't own, they rent, and that's where I've helped them buy in Alberta, the prairies and everything. But we were set up with very good property managers and everything, and they're doing awesome. They love it. They're getting cash flow and everything. Yeah. They could have kept trying to save their money here in BC. They never would have been able to buy. And that's where they're doing all the right things. And that's where renting where you live is perfectly fine, as long as you're either doing something with that money of either investing into like the stock markets or buying investment properties in other areas.
Yeah.
And it's just looking at all the options.
Yeah, what I'm just trying to say is like when you're investing out of your location, obviously do more research because there's more nuance to it, right? Because you don't know the area as well as you do in your current location. It is doable. It just obviously takes more research and not just looking at numbers, looking at everything as well. All right.
So we got some changes to the banking world in a whole bunch of different things going on. And so like EQ Bank is going to buy PC Financial from Loblaw in an estimated $800 million deal, propels the digital bank into the credit card market. And that's where I think like EQ wants that way. And I mean, I remember as a kid, I got a PC Financial card because it was free. I was like, where's the cheapest card? And that's where they do have some nice things that way. And so EQ doing that, I can understand it. I mean, PC Financial was formerly partnered with CIBC until 2017. I mean, these companies they seem to like jump around. It's like Costco and everything. But I think EQ Bank it's a great thing for them. Now the weird one, B2B Bank, Laurentian, which is like a massive bank, mainly in the Quebec area, like is really where they're known and everything. It's going to be purchased by Fairstone, which I'm actually surprised by that, to be honest, Alex, is that one seems different, but maybe Fairstone, they want to be in the banking world. They're mostly in like like debt consolidation and everything. And so they're probably like, hey, you know what? We want to be in the banking world.
Yeah, that's a big win for Fairstone. Yeah, because you're right. They're mostly I see them more for debt consolidation, unsecured credit, because oftentimes Fairstone is an option after the banks. If you don't get approved by the banks, you get approved by Fairstone. But
Yeah.
because they get approved by Fairstone, you're probably paying higher interest rate. And like if
And
you're
it's going to
higher
be
risk.
interesting. I mean, we have like B2B deals with mortgage brokers. And so I mean, we'll see what goes on there. I feel like it's almost going to be like the CWB National Bank merger. Is CWB is stopping their A side of lending with brokers, but their alternative side is still going to stay open. And that's where B2B is another monoline lender, is what we like to tell people. And I've used them maybe a few times for those type of deals, but really they excel in like alternative lending is where like they're better suited. And I think like feel like that's where lots of lenders are realizing the money's at. Is it's hard enough for people to buy a house. Well, the business owners, they have better ways to qualify. And that's where I could see them more focusing on the alt side. And maybe Fairstone's going to go and message all the database people and say, hey, you want a Fairstone loan, and go and rock people up and do a bunch of debt.
Yeah, I do like this that we're seeing some mergers and acquisitions happening, but it doesn't involve the big six. It doesn't
Yeah.
see like RBC is buying this, Scotia is doing that, TD is doing that, and it's strengthening. It's not strengthening the oligopolies. We're seeing like the smaller players trying to shore up. Like we want to see not the big six, we want to see a big 10, we want to see a big 20, whatever. And the fact that EQ Bank, like I have accounts with EQ Bank, and some people, like you said, have PC Financial. Now the CIBC arm of it has we all know has converted to Simply Financial. That's the CIBC version, the arm of it. But yeah, it's kind of like good for Fairstone. Like I didn't know. I guess they've been profitable enough on the unsecured debt side that they've been able to.
Oh, I would say they're probably. I would say that's probably a very, very profitable business is
Yeah,
what they're looking at. And I
yeah,
mean, I mean, we know Quest Trade is trying to get their own bank. Like everyone wants a bank. The way that you get to lend money out, and even for their debt side, probably being tied to the bank, they probably get access to cheaper funds. And so they may not even care about the mortgage side of this. They're just like, we want access to having a bank. Like
yeah,
that's what they want.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, at the end of the day, uh, the smaller players getting in and wanting to play with the big boys, I'm all for it. Good for competition. StatsCan said it missed 38% of non-citizens in its last census. How does that happen? Is it Stats Canada? Isn't that their job, is to count people, count this, count that? Like,
I think I mean, it's all done backwards. And that's where sometimes it's like, well, why don't we like, yes, we all want to have estimations, but even like the job reports, they do estimations and then it gets adjusted later on. And it's their way of controlling some of the news for like, how's the economy doing and everything. And that's where, I mean, I would think like most companies have like a plus or minus 5 to 10% as an error put into it. But I mean, 38%, like that's a pretty big error.
I mean, StatsCan did talk about the whole 54,000 new jobs. I'm like, where did they get that number from? And I kind of quote Steve Saretsky from the Looney Hour. He says, the StatsCan is like the random number generator. It's
Yeah.
like
Oh, exactly.
that just to curb their own narrative.
Expect 10,000 and we're 40,000 short. And it's like, well, how are you so far off?
Yeah, and exactly like, and if you ask the general public, they're like, does it feel like the economy is doing better? We're like, no, it feels like the same how it was all year. And until there's relief or a resolution on the tariff thing, it's probably like I throw shade on today's news and the reactions. I'm like, I don't think so. When this all settles, we're probably going to have more of the same of what we heard lately, more layoffs, all that stuff. So, okay, here's an interesting one here. Canada is debuting its first ever free grocery store in Saskatchewan. So just like a regular supermarket, it's fully stocked with items, but everything inside is free.
Yeah.
Now, each shopper can take home up to $200 worth of groceries every 2 weeks. So, I mean, this is especially helpful for those low-income families or those who are struggling. I sure hope there isn't abuse out of it. You know, like people who are well off and who don't need it, who show up in their Teslas or their Escalades or their Toyota Tundra trucks, and like, you know, I hope there's some sort of like oversight and making sure that it goes to the right people.
I've brought food out to some places in my community, and it's not like you don't like, it's just they put their names in and you just drop it off. And I mean, the thing that I see with a lot of them is a lot of them have nicer cars. Their houses are not doing good, and obviously inside, but they finance cars, and which is like, again, it shows like how bad our school and financial teaching is that, hey, don't worry, go get a new car, but don't worry about groceries. Hey, that you can use your credit card for that. And that's where it's scary. I mean, it's awesome to see this happening, and it is needed. Like there's kids, I have to tell my son every day, there's probably 6 to 7 people in your class. They may not know what they're going to be having for dinner tonight. Like that's a scary stat. And I mean, I live in a smaller area, where for you probably in Surrey, I would say it'd be even bigger than that.
Yeah. I remember several years ago, we did a adopt a family with my church group. And, we got wish lists for their kids, and then we bought people groceries and we delivered it. We went to the house and the family, and they lived in like a fantastic house, like amazing house. And we're like, how did these people pass this screening? So I hope, Adopt a Family, other charitable organizations, yes, they do great things, but unfortunately there are people who abuse it and who are taking it away from those who actually need it. So, this is just my public service announcement. Yes, there is good for Saskatchewan. I hope there is the right people who take advantage of this, not the ones who abuse it and just ruin it for all of us, or for all those who actually do need it.
Now we're going to get into where, hey, we added a bunch of jobs, but now we're going to talk about some jobs going away. And so this one is a pretty big one. It came out obviously December 1st, that Algoma Steel was going to be laying off 1,000 employees. Now there was a lot of news on this, for one, because Algoma Steel also got $500 million financing from the federal and Ontario government in November. Now, this is where I was like looking, I wanted to know, like, holy shit, we've talked about this so much. How are these companies we have in here, like Stellantis, got money from the government, then they left? Like, it's a very scary story going back and forth. Now, this one for Algoma Steel, I mean, doing a little bit more research on it, this was always planned, them losing these jobs. They were in receivership 3 years ago. Like, they were about to be like done for. The government came in, helped them. They're trying to change how they're doing things. And I mean, yes, I think it's a large portion is due to the tariffs, sorry, not tariffs. But these layoffs were already discussed. It was just more, they were talking like 2027 is what a lot of people said. It wasn't going to be so soon. So that's like, hey, well, why did you almost lie and say, hey, we are going to be doing it, but we need these funds? And so I understand people's like upset with them, the government again giving money out. Again, I do think like we can't say that they lied. I mean, they did tell the government, hey, we are going to be laying people off here at some point. It's just earlier than what the government thought.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just more stupidity that's happening. Like I hope we need to stop this from happening over and over because this is our taxpayer dollars. And like, is it because that's why our tax has gone up 41% in the last 13 or 15 years? Is because we have Tweedledee and Tweedledum in government that doesn't know how to protect our money and have it, go to good use. Now, here's another one that I don't know. I don't want to say it's boiling my blood, but it's kind of like, is this where it's headed? So, we're getting the FIFA World Cup next year, 2026.
Yeah.
And so it came to show here that $18 million has been paid to 3 First Nations band, the Musqueam Indian Band, the Squamish Nation, and I can't pronounce this, Tsleil Waututh Nation, $6 million each. However, there is no mention of any specific conditions attached to the money. Now, is this more like taxpayer money flowing to First Nations? Is this the whole land claim related kind of thing? We're paying you to like paying hush money kind of thing. What do you make of this?
In a sense, I would say again, like this is such a bad like way. Like, why was there nothing? And I mean, hey, are they going to be on their lands for the for the FIFA? And it's like, hey, well, this is where there just needs to be better communication of like, where is this money going? Why is it going? Not just, hey, we gave out $18 million and it was just to try and make them happy.
Yeah.
We've been throwing money at this for the last 25 years, 20 years. And it's not going to fix the problem. We need to do other things. Like we need to come together. One thing, I was in Vancouver 3 weeks ago and there was a big like indigenous like a get together and I was like, this is so cool. Again, us, me and you, Alex, we're not part of that. Like we have these massive gatherings for all these people, but we all need to do stuff together. Like they were talking about how do we better our communities and everything. Well, we should also be involved with that. Like we want to we all want to connect together. If we just keep trying to separate each other, saying, hey, you guys stay over there, you stay here, you stay over there, this is like where the separation has all happened. I feel like in the last 4 years, like separationism is the highest it's ever been. I did not have that feeling. For one, as a kid, obviously you don't know everything that's going around you when you're younger. But even when I was like 20 to 30, it felt much more, we were in this together, where now it's like, well, they're over there, me and you are over here.
You just kind of hit the nail on the head. There's been so much division. I'd like to kind of source it back to the whole Trump being elected kind of thing. But it started too during COVID. We had a lot of Asian hate when, being blamed for coronavirus, COVID-19, all that stuff. And it slowly, shifted towards hate on Indian people from the whole immigration and all that stuff. And now probably more racism towards First Nations as well. So like,
yeah. And I mean, that's the, again, that does go back to social media. It is like the information that gets out and passed around. It's something that someone says may not be true, but it blows up. And then everyone starts treating people that way. And so I don't know exactly what to say with this. I mean, I wouldn't want someone just giving money for no reason. But I think we just all need to be able to chat better and figure out like, hey, what are we doing here? What's what's that money for? And hey, if it's to have everyone on their land, hey, awesome. Cool.
Honestly, this is my tinfoil hat thing is I bet you they're just paying them money just so that they don't protest during FIFA. So it makes Canada look bad. I totally see that. So, we're going to shift gears here locally. Looks like our show is going to be a little bit longer today, but folks, please bear with us. We're going to talk about important stuff here. So, this whole Aboriginal land claim thing that we just talked about. The survey conducted by Research Co. found that the majority of BC residents are worried about the impact of this Aboriginal title ruling. Now, I'm surprised it's not higher. It's more than 2/3. So 68% believe property owners should be concerned about the consequences of Aboriginal title being deemed a prior and senior right over fee simple private title ownership. Now, it's rising to 71% among Metro Vancouver residents, 72% among Southern BC residents, and 75% among owners of primary residence across the province. I'm actually surprised this is not like 90 or 100%. Either, some people are just ignoring it, or, you know, a lot of people are worried about this. So we'll see how this plays out going forward.
Yeah, now I want to jump into this one because it's interesting to see here. Again, we're talking about layoffs, but the city of Vancouver approved a 0% increase in property tax, which everyone's probably like, awesome, my property taxes are going up. But in response, they're laying off 400 union workers. And so everyone has to remember there's give and take for everything. If you don't increase property taxes, well, again, where has this money been going? I mean, the city of Vancouver has been living on the bloat of, like, for one, like fees from developments and everything, and land transfer taxes. And now it's like, well, hey, like, this is where we always talk about the difference of the US to Canada. Their property taxes are significantly higher than ours. Ours is like hidden in other fees. It's almost, let's talk about the medical industry. We are free in a sense, but a lot of other stuff gets hidden in other fees. There's certain things you have to pay for. Oh, that's not covered. You got to pay for it here. And this is where, hey, we can keep property taxes lower, but people are going to lose jobs.
Yeah. I mean, technically it's not free. It's socialized medicine. I mean, we pay for it through our taxes. But remember, we've been saying, well, probably months ago now, that, was it Mississauga Vaughan was leading the charge in how do we promote development? We need to lower the cost of development to make it more affordable. Well, it looks like Vancouver has finally saw the writing on the wall, because development has gone to virtually nothing in Vancouver. In order to kind of spur up the new housing construction, they are slashing development fees by 20%, which is great news. I mean, it was some number I heard. It was like 50,000 per unit, I believe, or more. I think one stat I heard. But yeah, by slashing at 20%, that's kind of good news. I hope they slash it more, but this is a start. We're hearing more stories about developments kind of going belly up here, especially in BC. Jameson Development has obtained creditor protection for its 28-story project on 2538 Birch Street in Vancouver. It's along the Broadway SkyTrain corridor here. Now, this BC housing funded project is 91% complete and is set to be sold to First Peoples Group for $235 million. So, I mean, we've seen the collapse of the whole condo sector in GTA starting to creep up here in the Lower Mainland as well. This is another one of them. I mean, notably, this project's just a 5-minute walk away from another project, 2511 Spruce Street, another nearly completed tower placed under creditor protection last month. Now, this is owned by the Minglan Group, facing insolvencies on 2 projects. Sounds like a Chinese developer. 2 projects, the Capstan in Richmond has been placed under receivership by BMO, and the Duet in Vancouver has been placed under creditor protection by National Bank. This is all a fallout of sales just drying up. It's like near zero. And these projects that started before this whole fallout is coming to roost now and not completing, or being taken over under receivership.
Yeah, no, and I mean, we're gonna see more of these things. Like, this is not like, these are not just like one-offs. It's gonna keep happening more. We haven't seen as much in the Toronto area, but I do think it's going to slowly start happening even there more.
100%.
Now, this one, this is actually, I mean, it's not close to where I live, but it's on the island. It's super sad to see here. Now, this is just another massive blow to the BC forestry industry. The Crofton pulp mill is permanently closing. The owner, Gomtar, cited poor pricing for pulp and lack of access to affordable fiber in BC. Now, for everyone to understand, we don't really ship our pulp. Like, this stuff is not going to the US. This actually has nothing to do with the tariffs whatsoever. It's just the economy and where we're getting things. And probably we maybe should have spent more time making more like trade stuff with China and other countries that are taking these things. But this is like more than 350 jobs lost. And these aren't like lower paying jobs. It's on average anywhere from 90 to 150. Like, these are people that are living in these areas that have now lost it. And are they going to be able to find other jobs in this same type of industry? No, they're either going to have to move somewhere, or they're going to have to fly in, fly out for work. And this is another thing of like, we've been destroying our BC industry for years. Like on the island, there used to be so many like pulp mills, just lumber mills. You go down to the US, they're all doing great. They have lumber mills all over the place. And we have destroyed that on our sides.
Yeah, I mean, our forestry industry, yeah, it's probably been the last quarter century. It's slowly decaying to nothing. So,
Yeah.
I mean, even David Eby tried to save this mill like 2 years ago with transitional funding and help, but this is not helping. So, it's sad to see there. We finished off this last pit here. John Rustad, the now former leader of the Conservative Party in BC, he was ousted in a non-confidence vote, 20 out of 39. So it was a near majority there. And yeah, he kicked out, and Trevor Halford got appointed interim leader. So I don't follow too much of the BC politics, but I heard that this is kind of a long time coming, that John Rustad wasn't the greatest leader for the Conservative Party. But yeah, we'll see how. And some people in our industry has said, Mayor Brad West, you should go for a Conservative Party leader. We'll see how that goes. Yeah.
Yeah, like you said, it would be interesting, but I don't fully know if he will at this time.
Yeah, especially with young kids and everything.
If I was someone, I don't know if this is the time to get into politics into that level. It'd be like, hey, you know what? Let's see what we're doing and wait for a few years and then come in.
Yeah, it's almost like Mayor West is like the golden boy of politics. Is like, hey, can you come in and save this sinking ship here? Like,
yeah, no, I don't know if you want to be a part of that right now.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like, I mean, Vancouver Canucks fan, and we are dead last in the league. Like, oh my goodness, like your Leafs are not doing it that great either. But
they're not doing.
I mean, I think both of our teams are not going to make the playoffs this year. But I'm like, we're not even trying to tank, and we are dead last. So I'm like, I'm going to a few games, and I'm actually not hoping. Like, even my son and I, we're all like, we don't want to win. We score 3 goals and lose 4-3. I'm like, we're back in that phase now. So, what do you got going on this coming week, Alex?
Oh, like I said, going out for a Christmas tree here this weekend and everything, and just we got a pancake breakfast with Santa Claus, and so it's just gonna be hanging out with the family. What about yourself?
I remember when the kids were younger, we take them to see Santa for those pictures in the mall, and one of my sons wasn't having it. He'd cry the whole time, and the picture was him just crying, and it was just funny. We're like, okay, sit still and just stare, and he's like, ah! So I remember those times. Like, your kids are a little bit older, but you might have remembered those times.
I know there was never really time scared of Santa or anything.
Okay. Yeah, for us, nothing going on. Tomorrow is the MLS Cup. So by the time you guys listen, we'll know who the winner is. It's either Miami or Vancouver Whitecaps. I believe we've beaten Miami twice earlier this year, but they're a different team now. And I believe where the betting odds is we are an underdog, but you never know. Hopefully by the time this pod goes live, we are celebrating a championship victory for Vancouver, which we much needed. I know Canucks.
Very nice.
Yeah, I mean, it won't be as huge as if the Canucks ever win. Still waiting for it in my lifetime, but that'd be nice to see. So, but yeah, good luck to the Whitecaps there. But yeah, so folks, just like on the top of the show, we want to thank you for tuning in every step of the way, for the 44 of you who pick us as your number one show, to the rest of our audience who have chosen to listen to us, watch us, to provide valuable advice, education, all that stuff. And just hearing Alex and I banter about life and all that stuff. But yes, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for tuning into this episode 66 of the Canadian Mortgage Show. On behalf of Alex Shanks, I'm Alex Pang. We'll see you next week.
Talk to you later. Now, if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to like and subscribe. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple, make sure to follow us. Please give us a 5-star rating. You can even send us an email because we want to know what you guys want to hear about. That's what we're here for. Reach out anytime.